communication is the number one most important skill that you're going to have throughout your lifetime. If you're in business, even in relationships, whatever the scenario, life will always be about the art of communication and be able to sell something, whether it be a product, a service, a vision, a dream. It's that ability to transfer energy from being passionate and articulating your vocabulary to convey a vision and get a buy-in through other people. And that in itself is a very important skill. And this is so essential and imperative in business, especially when you're a startup and you've got an idea about a product or a service and you want to take it to market. Of course, you're going to be sold on that product because that's the reason why you're pushing it. But the challenge is to then take that energy, that belief, and then push it across to the masses. And especially in business as well, before you get onto the whole marketing bandwagon and look at, pumping funds into marketing and advertising and looking at getting engagement, you need to build a solid foundation. The only way you can build a solid foundation is by having an organic community, having organic relationships with your customers or your clients. And this is where the hard work begins and never ends. You have to literally go door to door and speak to people, get people to buy into you, introduce yourself, why they should trust you, why they should invest their time with you, why should they listen, what value can you bring to the table, what is it that you do different. And there's so many different ways of getting people to buy into you. Again, it could be your energy, it could be your look, it could be your personality, it could be your traits, it could be your charisma, it could be a combination of all of these things or some of these things put together, and that could be the byproduct. But nevertheless, these are skills you can work on. Becoming a better communicator, having positive energy, being in a good environment. These are things that you don't necessarily have to be born with, but you absolutely can create that environment and create a change. And once you've mastered that ability to first believe in yourself and your vision, conveying that to others comes across natural and strong and charismatic. And that's what gives people confidence to buy into who you are and what you do. Because if you're going to present a product, a service, your business plan, your pitch deck, and you're not even confident or compassionate about what it is you do, if you're stuttering, if you're fumbling over your words, if you can't maintain eye contact, if you can't articulate why what it is you're offering needs to be heard, then you're not going to get anywhere. People buy into people, and the type of people they buy into is people that are sure of themselves, they're confident, they know what they're talking about, they're good at storytelling. And this is what's going to take you to the next level. It's all about sales. And before you go to the mass market, business is all about one-to-one. You have to go door to door and work one-to-one in terms of getting to know your clients, seeing what objections they have, the types of questions they ask, and you can refine that and create essentially a script which you should absolutely learn by back of your hand, and that should be at your disposal. So you should be able to come to that anytime and reel off information. You should be quick, experienced. It shouldn't be an issue to answer difficult questions. And with sales as well, the biggest buy-in point is actually when people object you and ask for reasons to walk away from the conversation. That's the point where if you can turn that around and find a way to overcome that objection in a confident, assertive way, present a use case, present a different scenario, I can absolutely guarantee you that's when you'll move the needle. That's when things will turn around, and that's how you're going to get the buy-in. Because a lot of people feel like they know the answers, they've heard this before, they know what's best, and they'll shut off what it is you have to say and what you have to offer. So this is why it's so important, knowing your customers, knowing your clients, knowing your product, knowing your service, because you need to be the master of that. And once you have that information at your disposal and in your arsenal, there's absolutely no way you can lose or you can fail. So think about that. Build a solid foundation, learn sales, learn communication. Once you've got that organically, you can then market to the masses. You can then move on to VSLs, public speaking, presentations. But it is a progress. The best thing to do is to start. The best time to have started was yesterday. So if you're watching this, make note and make a start.